So today I'm gonna guide you through the best systematic route to practice the 8 most important beginner-friendly chords. My first tip to learn the guitar fast and efficiently while staying motivated is to start with open chords. To put it very simple, open chords are chords that use a combination of fretted notes and open strings. And open strings are strings that don't require any fret pressing at all. The first open chord we're going to learn together is going to be the E minor, and it's often called the easiest chord on guitar, and for good reason, because it only requires 2 fingers to play. You're gonna start by putting your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and then your ring finger right underneath it on the 2nd fret of the D string. Don't play it with your index and middle because it will really limit your movement over here. Try to use the very tips of your fingers and keep your fingers arched like this, so not like this, but like this. Then you leave all the other strings open, so the low E string, G, B, and high E string. Then you play all 6 strings confidently like this. This is an E minor. The second open chord we're going to learn is going to be the C major, and it goes like this. You're going to put your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A string, your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, and your index finger on the 1st fret of the B string. Leave the G string and the high E string open, and then start your strum from the A string downwards. Try to avoid hitting the lowest E string at the top. The whole thing should sound like this. The third chord is going to be the G major, and you're going to play that by placing your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the thick low E string. Then you're going to place your index finger on the 2nd fret of the A string and your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the high E string. Leave the D, G, and B string open. This chord requires a little bit of a stretch, but I have a quick technique tip for you. Make sure that your thumb is relaxed on the back of the neck, roughly behind your middle finger. Not like horizontal like this, and also not like that, but right behind your middle finger. Then strum all 6 strings confidently like this. The fourth and final open chord we're going to learn together is going to be the D major, and it goes like this. You're going to place your index finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, and your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the high E string. For the D major, try strumming only the thinnest 4 strings, so these 4. A quick tip for this one, really make sure that your fingers are arched, so not like that or flat like that, but really arched like this. Also make sure that your fingers are right in front of the frets. This avoids a buzzy sound. What if I told you that with the next exercise, using just these chords, you'll be able to play hundreds, if not thousands of songs instantly? So let me teach you how to play some cool chord progressions. But before we do that, I need you to hit that subscribe button on my channel, because I upload a brand new tutorial every single day on how you can become a better guitar and ukulele player. So after you have subscribed to my channel, let's learn some cool chord progressions on the guitar. So the first progression we're going to learn is going to be E minor, G major, D major, and C major. I'll put a list on screen with a few songs that you will be able to play instantly after this exercise. And trust me, there are a lot more songs like this. So let's learn this progression right now. So let's practice the first chord progression. We're going to play all 4 chords with 4 downstrokes per chord. Try not to obsess too much over which strings to hit per chord. So for example, when you're at the D major, don't only try to focus on these 4 strings. If you feel comfortable, you can do that, but really try to focus on the chord shapes in the beginning. That's the most important. Then you can focus on the strings to hit. So we're going to play E minor, G major, D major, and C. So let's practice with 4 downstrokes per chord. Like that. So now you already know how to play some chords and songs, but did you know that making one simple switch in this whole progression will allow you to play a lot more songs? The second chord progression that you and I are going to learn together is going to be G, D, E minor, C. Again, I'll put a list on screen to show you some songs that you'll be able to play with this chord progression. Again, countless of hits use this progression, so let's get started and learn this right now. So let's practice this chord progression in the same way as we did the first one. So we're going to do 4 downstrokes per chord. G major, D major, E minor, C major. like that. The fact that you can now play so many songs with these open chords leads me directly to my next tip. My second top tip and the next step that you should be heading towards after learning these open chords is learning versatile chords. To put it very simple, versatile chords are chords that are used in countless of popular songs that are just a little bit more difficult than open chords, but not as difficult as bar chords. The reason why this phased approach is so effective is psychological, really, because your brain thrives on small wins. The amazing feeling of suddenly being able to play hundreds of songs is such a powerful motivator, and you are in luck because you've secretly already learned some versatile chords, the C major and the G major. So let me walk you through 4 additional versatile chords, and after that we will learn 2 more incredibly common chord progressions. So the 5th chord of this video and the first versatile chord we're going to dive into is going to be the A minor. You're going to put your index finger on the 1st fret of the B string, your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, and then your ring finger right under it on the 2nd fret of the G string. Then strum from the A string downwards like this. So the next chord is going to be the A major, and it goes like this. Place your index finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, your middle finger right underneath it on the 2nd fret of the G string, and then your ring finger right underneath that on the 2nd fret of the B string. Yes, all 3 fingers on the 2nd fret. Then leave the A string and the high E string open. Quick technique tip, this can be tricky to fit, I know. Try slightly rolling your fingers like that, or using the very tips to avoid your fingers getting stuck between the strings or interfering with one another. The whole thing should sound like this. Alright, here it is. The next chord is going to be the F major, but don't worry, we're not going to do the bar version like this. So you're going to play the simplified F by placing your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the D string, your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and then with your index finger you have 2 options to make this easier. So the first one is to bar your index finger on only the B and the high E string like this. So this way you don't have to do the full bar, but it's just a smaller bar. The second way to play the simplified F is to only place your index finger on the 1st fret of the B string, and then to leave the high E string open like this. It will give a slightly different sound, but it's still an F. The 8th and final beginner-friendly chord we're going to break down today is going to be the E major. You're going to place your index finger on the 1st fret of the G string, your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and your ring finger is going to go right underneath it on the 2nd fret of the D string. Leave the low E string, B string, and high E string open. Then you're going to strum all the strings. You might have noticed, but the E major looks a lot like the A minor. It's actually the same shape, but then 1 string up. This could make it easier for you to remember the E major. The 3rd chord progression is going to go like this. C major, G major, A minor, and F major. Again, I'll put a list on screen of songs that you will be able to play with this progression. And with that being said, let's learn this chord progression right now. Alright, so we're going to do 4 downstrokes per chord again. So it's going to be C, G, A minor, and then simplified F. You can choose how to simplify it for yourself, like this or like this. I'm gonna do it with the small bar for this example. The 4th and final chord progression that we're going to break down in this video is going to be A minor, F major, C major, G major. Again, I'll put a list on screen with songs that you can play with this progression. So let's learn this chord progression right now.